Give it up right now for Brenda Elsagher.
Keep it going for all the comedians. Aren't they good? Woo! Thanks. I did not become a comedian until I was 40 years old. And thanks. And I tried out for the Twin Cities Funniest Person contest. You had to be an amateur. You could never have been paid to try out. So I tried out. There was 150 young punks and me, and they were skinny too. And nobody was more surprised than my husband and I when I won the whole thing. Woo! I got $1,000 with that contest too. $1,000. I told my husband I'd split it with him, so I gave him $50. That's female calculations, right? Yeah. Like the other day I was at Kroger's, and it was coupon day, so $12.52 I saved. Don't you love that? Yeah. So I went out to Macy's and I bought this jacket for $88. What do you think? Reversible. That's a good deal. That's female calculations, right? The other night we had people over and we had a piece of key lime pie left over. Oh, and I love key lime pie, but I've been trying to watch it, not to eat it, but I thought, well, if I just took the dog for a walk, right, if you're reasonable and you go for a little exercise, you can have that pie. So I took that dog for a vigorous walk around the island in the kitchen, and then I sat right down. Female calculations. Yeah. But that $1,000, that was burning a hole in my husband's pocket, So we had to get a satellite dish, and at the time they were brand new. They had just come out with satellite dishes, and it was $500. He says, "Oh, Miss Brenda, we have to have a satellite dish, only $500, and it includes a year of service." I said, "Oh, okay." And he says, "Oh, very good thing to have." I go, "Okay." So we get the satellite dish, and he brings it home. He says, "Oh, Miss Brenda, I found out it's just another $50 to hook it up." I said, "Okay." So we hook it up, and we sit down to watch it, and there was no good reception. And he told me that's the whole point. You have good reception. Now, you can't tell, but I'm doing a Middle Eastern accent. Okay. Yeah. Sometimes it sounds Irish, but my husband is from Egypt. It doesn't matter because I never listened to him anyway. So he says, "Miss Brenda, excellent reception, but this is a problem. We have to take a tree down." Really? Another $250. It was the neighbor's tree. They're starting to get over it. They're very polite. They're Republican. Anyway, so we take the tree down, and we've got excellent reception. He says, "Oh, Miss Brenda, such excellent reception for such a small TV." So he goes to Best Buy, comes back with something about the size of that screen right there, a 52-inch screen. And he says, "Oh, Miss Brenda, for just another $20 more a month, we can have the Egyptian channel." Well, guess what happens next? The Egyptians start coming over to watch the Egyptian channel. And now my husband, he's getting a little bit worried about the furniture. And we have to have some new furniture. So we go to the store, we get the kind with the recliners. Now I've got 7 Egyptians laying around watching the satellite dish. And they don't like, just chips and cheese and popcorn. No, I got to have hummus and falafel and baba ganoush. Have you heard of these things? Yeah. I'm in the kitchen cooking all day long, and now he and his friends are watching that belly dancing 24/7. He's getting homesick for his homeland. We got to go back to Cairo, Egypt. We got to get 4 tickets. You can't go empty-handed. You got to bring gifts for all the family and friends. Do you know that darn contest cost me $88,000? Oh my gosh. It's rough. My husband's name is Beckett. Now you guys try to say that. Beckett. Do you feel like that chicken's coming out? Yeah. And so he always says, "Call me Baggy." One of my friends calls him Ziploc. Yeah, Baggy is, he's Muslim. I'm Catholic. We call our children Musliks. They always face east when they say the rosary. They don't eat pork, but they do like to play bingo. No, we have a lot of respect for each other's religious holy days. He respects our Christmas and Easter, and I respect his month of Ramadan Ding Dong. I've got a Chinese brother-in-law, too, from mainland China. His name is Xi, spelled X-I. My father calls him 11. Thank you. My father's name is Hump, short for Eugene. My mother's name is Helen, short for woman who drives me crazy. My whole life, I've been introducing my parents. These are my parents, Hump and Helen. I remember the first time I went to my husband's apartment, I was so impressed. He had at least 25 trophies. Until I looked closer, I realized none of them were his. He just liked shiny things. Mabel Johnson, bowling, 1945. Art Smith, archery, 1966. And he was a poor university student, and he had to sell his precious items. I said, well, Baggy, what do you think you're going to get, like a dime? And he goes, oh, no, Miss Brenda. You know, he always called me Miss Brenda. Isn't that cute? For like the first 10 years of our marriage, he called me Miss Brenda. And then the last 11 years, it's been more like, hey, wife, you know, which is a whole lot better than what his friends used to call me, green card. Anyway, so he says, Miss Brenda, I'm going to sell them, and I paid 50 cents for each one. I intend to get $1 for each trophy I sell. I thought, well, good luck. At the end of the day, he calls me, says, Miss Brenda, you won't believe it. One guy just came, bought all 25 trophies for $25. I said, oh my gosh, who would buy all those things? He said, well, I think he was from Pakistan. We got two kids, real quick. First one's a boy going to UND because it's not cold enough in Minnesota. He had to go to North Dakota. And it reminds me of the time when my husband was standing in line to come to the United States. He was standing in line, and the people in immigration said, do you know how cold it gets in Minnesota? It gets so cold, it gets below 0. And my husband, the math guy, he says, there is no such number. And the immigration officer said, you'll find out. So his friend was standing next to him, and his friend heard this. He says, oh, I do not want to go to someplace cold like Minnesota. Please, put me someplace south. I need to go someplace south. The immigration officer wrote down South Dakota. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot, everybody.